Zip up your hoodie, Tony. We're going
Yeah.
in. We're going across the
We're
obelisk.
going in. Going in hot.
Tangerine. This is one of the games I played in the demo festival. This is called Across the Obelisk. Across the Obelisk is a co-op RPG deck building roguelike. Play solo with your friends, choose your heroes, unlock items and cards, craft your deck, face powerful enemies in deep tactical combat. Would you dare to go across the obelisk?
Yes.
So this is obviously one of the games I installed as from the demo festival. It's like, oh, it's a deck builder game, so I will try it out because I love Slay the Spire, obviously. Um, yeah, it was okay.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't in love with this game. It did some cool stuff where at one point you can build like a party of 4 people, and then you each of them has their own set of cards. You're building like 4 decks at one point, and I think it has like online co-op as well. It's another like good example of like, hey, this game would be cool if it had multiplayer, and this game I think does have multiplayer,
Yeah.
so you can do that. Just to a
So
side
it's
though, that I think that I just saw in the workshop someone's made like a mod for Slay the Spire that makes it like kind of co-op, which is pretty cool. We should try that out at some point.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
Or someone playing that, it was pretty cool. Where you kind of do runs simultaneously, but you can like trade cards, which is pretty interesting.
Right. Yeah.
So you're not like in the same fights, but you kind of playing co-op.
It'd be cool if you were in the same fights. That'd be really. They should actually try and add that.
Yeah, but then
I
they
was
would
gonna say
need some
in
sort
this
of
game
like
though, there's like different types of cards where you can like target yourself, a hero, or front monster, a monster.
yeah,
That's kind of
and then
interesting.
there's like I'd say it's more like D&D where there's a lot of like complicated. If you look at the top left, like right now, like my
Yeah.
guy is 10% weak to attack,
It's very.
fire, brain.
It's much like Adventure Quest, really,
It,
where you have
it,
lots of
it,
stats and percentages.
the thing I didn't like about this game was it had a lot of like depth, but it was more like it wasn't like interesting depth. It just felt like a bunch of random stats that didn't care about like a game like Slay the Spire. Um, it at its core, it's a very simple game. Like I think anyone could play Slay the Spire. Like as a base deck, you
Yeah.
understand that you get attacks and you get blocks right. Anyone can build like a deck build like that. But the real challenge of it comes from when you slowly start to add like the trinkets, and you add the different cards and power ups
Well,
and stuff. But with this game, I felt like from the get go, it's like you're going to control 2 characters, and then you're going to get 2 more characters. You're going to build 4 decks, and then
to
every single mob you're against has a he's weak, and he has like percentages on 10 different stats, and I'm
yeah,
like,
I'll say the problem with this game that I've seen so far, like it's very early D&D. Like we've only ever
yeah,
played early D&D campaigns, and like this is the same problem we've always had. Is like there's not much synergy at the start. Where Slay the Spire like shows you synergy like right from the get go, like how you can like combine moves together to like actually get what you want done. You start building up your deck. Whereas this looks a lot more like just D&D, where it's like, yeah, here's your skill sets. They don't really work together, but this is what you've got. And it's like, yeah, but why? Like, what's the point of doing that?
you can go to
Like,
like
what's the
a.
point of being able to block and attack?
There's definitely more like
Where's the choice?
there's definitely like more RPG elements in this. I would say where
I like the stats. Like, that looks really cool, but like, where's the choice of like what I can do at the start? I guess is my question.
as you progress through the map, you can choose like options. You can like try and talk to people, and then you can like you don't roll a dice. You actually if you the power cost of your cards, I believe, is how you roll. So
Oh,
you
okay,
roll a
right.
dice, and then if you have that powerful card, then you get to choose it, sort of thing. And then
Yeah,
it's like here's me showing like because you can upgrade cards, and there is choice on how you want to upgrade them. So you can either like make it apply more bleeds, or you can make it apply more damage,
yeah,
for
that's cool. I like
example.
that. More
Um,
armor or more block.
yes,
Okay, I like that.
some of them allow you to like reduce the cost. Like there is, I did like the upgrade system. I thought it was quite cool.
Yeah, you actually start to
Um,
make it more unique.
One of my
Interesting.
one of the things I wrote down, one of the big problems I had with this game was a lot of the cards were dangerously close to entire Hearthstone characters to a point where I was like the hunter character literally has cards with like I don't want to say exactly the same, but they were pretty much like exactly the same name and effect.
The same idea. Yeah, yeah.
As a lot of cards, and I was like, oh, I don't know if you can get away with this sort of thing. Like, it's dangerously close to being like a sort of rip off of Hearthstone. Like,
I guess, but how okay, but how unique is
yeah,
Hearthstone, I
that's
guess,
what I was
though?
gonna mention. Like, obviously,
It's hard to know.
if you're making like a hunter character, obviously you're gonna have like a charged shot. You're gonna have like a hunter's mark.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, there's gonna be tropes where a mage is gonna have frostbolts or fire
I
blast or
would say
whatever.
that they should probably do a better job at like making them like finding a niche or making like a gimmick and like running with it instead of like being too derivative of other games.
But
Like, I think that's a
I
good
think it
thing to
was
do.
like the mage seemed different. The wolf seemed kind of different. I mean, there was some. It was very close to a warrior sort of character. Well,
Yeah, it reminds me of a
the
warrior.
hunter was very close to like being a hunter. Well, the priest was very close to being like a priest from like Hearthstone or WoW. Like,
But some of the Hearthstone classes are very generic as well, though. So I don't know. I don't know what you could
but
do, but
it wasn't just like, oh, these cards are similar. It was like these cards are almost exactly the same.
right,
Like,
right.
it was getting that close, and I was like, okay, this is kind of sus. Like, I don't want to.
But there's a different system. Like the combat system's different. It's not the same
Hmm.
resource system, I guess. But yeah, I can understand that as being a problem.
Oh, one thing.
I don't hate this so far though. Like, I'm kind of interested in this actually. Like I'd be willing to try it. I just want to see
Yeah.
more comboing and more being able to like I can't really see that builds being like a good thing at the moment. They seem a little bit too surface level. I kind of want more synergy between different
Just
effects. That'd be kind of cool.
so you can buy like equipment because there's like you can upgrade the deck and then there's equipment which is kind of like relics sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you go straight into the game and you're like micromanaging 4 different characters. And I've
Yes, a
never
little
played
bit.
this game before. But
And there's no synergy to begin with. You have to create it yourself. It's a bit, yeah. Hmm.
but I do like how open the map is where I'm
Yeah,
like
that's
planning my
cool.
route.
I
But
like
then
the
it's
map.
like there's sort of like dynamic events where I'll just skip ahead like
Is that corn on the cob?
bit of the corn on the cob strat, yeah. I mean,
Eat the long
eat
way.
corn long way, you know.
Yeah.
This was just a straight up fight. I can't remember if me setting them on fire turned them into popcorn or if they just turn into popcorn when you do damage, but we'll have to see.
We'll see. Yeah.
But as you can see here, you kind of this is like the initiative sort of thing, where it's very much like it's much more like
Yes.
D&D than any other roguelike deck builder I've played.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
How's it generating your hand though? Is it a cycling deck? It's like
yeah,
do you have a deck per character, right? Okay, right,
yeah.
right.
So you have a discard, and then when you've fully gone through the deck, it shuffles it.
Right,
But
okay.
then,
Fair
so
enough.
sometimes you have like slice. So these slice cards, they do a lot of damage, but they only target the front monster, whereas an aim shot
Yes.
can target any monster. So
I quite like that actually.
it
That's a
does
cool.
depend on like who your front character is, and then I think
Yeah.
when these guys attack, they will just attack randomly. So this guy is doing
Random hero,
hero. I
right.
think maybe some of them later on will target them. These cards above their head, you don't know who they're going to attack, but there is a priest card, I think, for 0 mana, or like 1 mana maybe. It like draws a card, and then it also lets you see enemies' intents. So
Okay,
you can
right.
like see who they're going to attack. So you can go, oh, I want to give health to this guy. I want to give armor to this guy. Here's me reading the cards because there's a lot of like interesting synergies you can do. One thing I really liked about this game was the fact that in a lot of games you feel like you want it like Hearthstone or Slay the Spire. You want to try and spend all your mana in one turn.
Yeah.
It's just almost always good to try and spend all your mana. In this game, you can actually pass and it will conserve mana, as you can see at the bottom here on these bars, which I quite liked. It's actually, you
Right,
can like
yeah.
tactically choose when to play your cards, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
something that did add a bit more value to the game, sort of thing.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that.
So I'm gonna find some popcorn. Oh, did I do the intent? Yeah, so it's called Foresight, and that shows me above the head what they're going to do. Obviously, they're
Popcorn
attacking
fast.
randomly, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense against these guys, but the more you know.
So yeah, let's skip ahead a bit. So
I
then
guess you could choose
after,
when to block or not though, if you with that foresight though.
yeah, but you don't know who to block, which character to block if you got 4.
No, but I thought the blocking like also like helped blocking other characters, like it like boosted everyone around them
It depends. Some
in terms
blocks are
of the move.
targeted, some of them give everyone. It depends.
Right, right.
So here, after every fight, you choose like a card to unlock. But to unlock a card, you got to get a copy of it. So you
Oh, you
select
get
one, and then you can craft it. Or if you're like, I don't like any of these cards, you can just take shards, and then with shards you can buy new
right.
cards, or you can upgrade cards. But then again, so like, and your performance gives you bonuses. So I did well on that. So it's like, you like defeat it in a good amount of time. You didn't take too much damage, so you
Yeah,
actually got more
yeah.
gold and better like rolls on
I,
the.
I, I'm quite liking this, but what I'm seeing at the moment, I mean, I think the combat is a little bit boring. I
Let's
think at the
level
moment.
up. Yeah.
That's like my biggest criticism is like there's not
So
much like
here's
Slayer
what
Spire is good right from the get go.
It's also about the interesting event system where it comes more like an RPG, D&D sort of game. So I went up to, there were crops on fire, and here I could decide if I wanted combat, attack the imp head on, stealth, hide in the cornfields and attack with surprise. And then I would have to get a card that was lower than 6 from the group. Or I could try and cast some ranged scare the imp, where I'd have to get a card from the mage, because she's the one casting the spell that was lower than 1. So
Oh, there's a hidden option as well.
hidden options 1. So yeah, can do like hidden
So I guess
options.
it's like order matters, or like you can like find other information to unlock other options. Maybe
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
assume there's like items you can use maybe that let
Yeah,
you have different interactions. But I like that it tells you the odds. So in order to get this interaction, I would have to pull a card that was lower than 1. And if I went, oh, my deck has really high cost cards, it would be a good idea to do this because I know the odds are in my favor. But if, for
yeah, yeah.
example, I had lots of low cost cards and I needed to get higher than 3, then it would be bad to choose that option. So I like that it's like rolling a dice, but it's like you're rolling a dice with odds that you know and understand and can change,
You can manipulate it. Yeah,
which
that's
I
really
think
cool. I
was one of
like
the
that.
good things about Across the Obelisk. Yeah, that was very good. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to talk about this game.
I think it just needs to be more interesting combat synergy and like more interesting things you have to think about and like things you have to actually like the enemy don't like again it seems very much like the D&D stuff we play, like the enemies are there, you fight them in like the same way, there's not much decisions to be made
Yeah,
really.
the classes weren't that interesting. I think the priest may have been the class I liked the most, but he didn't. He was just mainly a heal bot.
Yeah,
Maybe if you like play through a lot, the card variations you can choose from gets like a lot bigger, but it just seemed like they were very standard. It was very like
yeah, there
cookie
should be more
cutter.
options from the start though, even if that is the case. I do quite like the. I don't know. I'm quite. I find the art style quite interesting. I don't know. It's kind of growing on me as
So
we
I got like a
more I
curse
watch.
there because I tried to fix an altar and I failed.
Oh shit.
I
Okay,
think I
right.
just you get to a point where you progress through the map and then it says end of demo sort of thing. So
Oh,
I didn't
finished.
get to like fight a boss or anything. So
That's a
yeah.
shame. Okay.
This game's coming out 8th of April, if you're interested in that. I mean, it's got multiplayer, so it might be worth checking out with some friends.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
got
actually
lots
interested in
of
this. I'll have
There will
to
be
look into
solo
this.
or with up to 3 other players, cooperative multiplayer, where you can each control a hero in combat, but all of you have to work together what's best for the group. I think, as I said before, with like Hell card. I think when you control multiple characters, I think it's better.
Hmm.
It might be better in multiplayer where we can just focus on one deck each, rather than
Yeah,
going
maybe.
straight in the game and I'm playing 4 different decks, sort of thing. Even
But
though they
I
are
feel,
quite simple, sort of thing.
yeah, I just feel like, yeah, they just need to make the starting decks, or the starting point of all these moves be not as
Because
simple and
that's the
more
thing, we're saying like
unique.
these decks are very like boring and cookie cutter, but they're also
It's not necessarily that the cards themselves are boring, I guess. It's the fact that you make the same decisions in each combat encounter.
hmm, I
Like,
don't
I
know.
didn't see you make any like interesting decisions like I do when I watch you play Slay the Spire, for example, or anyone play Slay the Spire. Like each one of these
Yeah, I think
moves was like, I'm
I,
going to
th- I,
target this
I
guy,
think
then
Across
this
the
guy.
Obelisk is not a bad game. I just don't think it's a particularly interesting game. I think
Yeah,
that might be its
I like
biggest
the
fault.
ideas though.
But I will talk about now another deck building game that I played that I absolutely loved. Because I was like, okay, I can talk about Across the Obelisk and I can compare it to stuff, and then I can talk about the game I really enjoyed playing, deck builder game, which was Roguebook. This game is amazing. I love the art style. It's fantastic. I
Yeah,
love the
it
fact
looks
you're on a
good.
book, and it's actually a gameplay mechanic where, in order to progress through the level, you have to paint the tiles, and you
Oh,
unlock ink
okay.
by defeating enemies.
So you got like 5 paintbrushes at the moment.
Yeah, and you use those to reveal tiles, and then
That's
fighting the
cool.
enemies gives you more ink. It's like a hex-based map, and
It's
then
like you have to like paint away the fog of war.
yeah, and there's also like
That's cool.
stuff you can buy which will like show you where like a rare item is, and you can like try and paint towards that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You choose a partner at the beginning. I chose the Frogman because I couldn't choose the other one. They weren't available for the demo.
It's like Boar Man was the other guy, right?
I think it was a sheep, maybe.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
But the way this works is it's another party system. It's a two-party system, but you play both of the cards at the same time instead of having two separate decks. Um,
That makes more sense.
yeah. And basically, the way it works is the person in front gets attacked, and there's
Yeah,
cards you
makes
play.
sense as well.
There's cards you play that means you can switch places. So I played a gut.
Yeah.
As you can
Oh,
see there,
I'm already
it
liking
has an
this.
icon on it which shows you when it's going to make you move places.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then
This reminds me more of Hellcard than the last game.
then when my my warrior woman, she's in the front, she gets might,
Yeah.
which means she has more attack. So I want to use my attacks when she's in front, but then if I'm about to get hit, I want to put my guard in front because he gains passive armor when he's in the front. So
Oh,
positioning's
okay.
really important in this game.
Ooh, I'm already like, yeah, this is way more interesting already.
Yeah. I mean, from the get-go, it's like a little bit more
More
interesting.
decisions.
Yeah. And it's not it's not confusing either. It's like
No.
it's almost as if that's good game design.
Almost. Almost.
So this is like a rune of sight. So this lets you like. So I can see up here. There's like a rare trinket thing that I want to go and get. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
go. I'm gonna paint towards that way so I can go and pick up that item, which I think is cool. And there's also like these towers you can go towards, which will also paint the air around it, so you can move around that area and see what's around that. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I think I
So
took
does the color of the card dictate who it's
the
for?
mm, the color of the card dictates whose deck it's from, but you
Yeah.
use both of the cards, so it doesn't
Right,
matter
right, right, right.
who
Okay, doesn't
casts
matter.
it,
Right.
unless it's like a block card,
But then you
it might
okay.
move that specific person in front. So I guess it does kind of matter actually.
But I just when it draws for the turn, I assume it like draws half of one character and the other half of the
No,
other.
I think it just draws random
Randomly.
cards.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. Um, gold. Oh, the gem system's really cool. I'll talk about that in a minute when we get some gems. I was like, oh, you can
Oh, that's what is.
swap heroes and draw a card because you can get allies cards. So this would actually summon an ally onto the field. I didn't end up picking that. I did want to play
Oh,
more.
against fish. Oh, you should have chosen that.
Yeah, it looks like
That'd be really cool
he
to
looks
see.
he looks like a bus, doesn't he? It looks like
It
there's a
does,
bus of
yeah.
people inside of him. I love the art style of this game. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's so good.
I think I just like I chose Clash. It's similar to a the Spire card actually, where it's just attack and block at the same time. So the gem
Right,
system,
right.
I didn't really understand it at first, but then I was like, it didn't take long for me to understand it. I was like, okay, this is really cool. So what you do is you take the gems and you can enchant cards. Um,
Okay.
so I think the gem I picked up there made the card ranged, and what ranged cards do is when you cast that card from the back, it costs one less mana to cast, which is like a really interesting thing. So sometimes you want to be in the front, but sometimes you want your character to be in the back if it's a ranged
Yeah.
card. So it
Yeah.
costs less money as well.
Okay,
And
right.
also, I'm also leveling up my characters here, so I unlocked a new. So as you can see here, um, it, depending on the card, some cards have more gem slots.
Oh, is that okay?
And
Right. So you slot them in.
also I'm leveling up. So you level up based on how many cards are in your deck. So the more cards you get to pick a talent. And here I chose resilience.
Oh,
Because
okay.
there's 3 tiers. There's a perk for one hero. So this guy blocks for 2 every turn, but I can increase it to block for 4. This I think resilience gives me more attack if I upgrade that. But there's also when Shaco takes damage, she gains a stack of courage. So every time she takes damage, she gets more attack. Or if you don't like either of the specifics, you can choose a party buff. So I guess Bargain Hunter here was one that was going to give me like when I kill people, I get extra gold maybe or something like that. The shop costs 25% less gold. Okay.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So here it's like, oh, that's cool. I can make a card ranged and then I'll make it cost some mana. Oh, I've got this cool. I think I end up taking my Fire Oil card, which is basically like it has a dissolve mechanic, which is basically like exhaust in Spire, whatever. Where once you use it, it disappears from your deck for that round. But then it gives one of your heroes 3 courage. I think is the strength mechanic in Roguebook. So that was pretty. So I made that ranged so that I could just keep casting it from the back, and then it would always cost 1 mana instead of 2, which gave me way more mana to play with. I thought it was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. This guy's got way more health. I didn't realize.
Yeah, so that's another thing about the different characters is not only do they have different cards, they have like different attributes. So he starts with the vial that gives me 2 block, and he also has more health on his like actual character itself as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
He also wanted There's different paint cards. So there's the default paint, but then there's paint that lets you paint in specific directions, and you have to try and like use it in the most optimal way, so you don't like run out of ink, sort of thing.
Yeah. Can you lock yourself up and run out of paint, or is there a way to always
You
continue?
always can go to the boss,
Right.
but I think you can kind of run out of ink before you get to like all of the rare items, sort of thing. So you do have to be
Yeah.
you want to kind of be careful with your ink here. This is like
Yeah.
a little fairy fight where if you kill him in time, you get gold, but if you don't, he runs away. It's like a nice little DPS check encounter. It's pretty cool. Like I love how
Yeah.
much interactable stuff there is on the map. Like it feels, and there's so much choice and skill expression
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So here I'm in my Fire Oil range, so it only costs 1 mana because my frog's in the back. So like
Okay.
it is dependent on whose deck it's playing from because it's a frog card. He needs to be in
Yeah.
the back to get the ranged effect.
Yeah. 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 That makes sense. I like that.
I'll skip
Yeah,
ahead.
just way more choice in the last game. Like it's just way more interesting.
So I'll fight the boss here. It's like, do you want to explore beforehand, sort of
They
thing.
look great. Look how cool they are. Look at their masks.
So they got these
That's so
debuffs on
cool.
them. So I cast the fire straight away for the ranged effect.
Wait, so the guy's holding him up asleep at the moment. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I think so. So they're not attacking because they're
Can't
still
attack.
here.
Right. They can't attack, so holding him up. Got it.
But the first one's pretty cool already because these guys, um, if you if the back one, they all have a shared health pool, as you can see at the bottom here, 215, 215.
Oh,
If you attack
right,
the
yeah.
back one, so if you deal 20 damage to the back one, they become vulnerable until the end of the turn, which means they take 50% more damage. If you deal damage to the front one, they become weakened, and they
Oh,
deal 33% less damage. So if they're going to do a big attack and you're like, shit, I can't block all this, you can weaken them by attacking the front one. Or if you're like, okay, I can deal a lot of damage this turn, you can attack the back one to deal lots of damage,
yeah, that's really cool. Okay.
which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of thought put into the boss. Like actually making it yeah, unique.
I think you can trigger both as well, like doing AoE as well,
One
because
this
it shows like a stack of how much more damage you need to do to trigger the effect.
Oh, okay, right. Suppose it's 0.
Fighting the boss here.
Okay. Right,
Skip ahead,
okay.
and then you get to choose a. Um, so you get to choose a. Are they equipped heroes card game turn? First turn you dissolve card game 1 mana. So you get to pick like. So this was a cool part of the demo that I was telling you about. So after defeating the first boss of the demo, you have to pick up the doomed coin, which means you can no longer gain gold, and this treasure is a limitation for the Steam Game Festival demo. And you could pre-order Roguebook to instantly get rid of the coin. So what it did was, it was like, okay, you can keep playing the game, but we're gonna make it really hard by making it so you can no longer pick up gold.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but if you want, you can pre-order the game and get it as like an early access sort of thing, where you can play more of the demo by pre-ordering the game, which I think is like a good idea to do, because
Yeah.
like it allows people to play the demo who just want to play through it. It allows people who want to keep trying to play on for free with the added affix, and it also allows people who are really interested based on the um, demo to like say, I think this looks good, I'm going to pre-order this and keep playing the demos.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
It's a cool interaction with the actual game as well. I like that. It's not boring. I give it that.
Well, I think it's like a better idea to like pre-order a game if you've played the demo for it at least.
True. True.
I mean, imagine like pre-ordering Cyberpunk before even
Yeah.
playing a demo for it. That would be insane. I do
I mean, they
like
only lie about the demo anyway.
yeah, the full game's a demo sort of thing. So
Yeah, early
early
access.
access. So immediately level 2 already looks fucking amazing. Like the art style, you're on like floating blocks in the
In
sky.
space.
I think you're in the sky.
Right.
But then this
Okay.
adds the mechanic of if you. So before I was revealing things, um, not all the things I reveal will be platforms I can walk on. So I have to try and create a platform path to where I want to go. I think I eventually like. Oh, there's a shop here, so I think I can buy like a crystal or whatever. But the problem is I have to kind of spend my gold because I can't earn gold anymore because of the demo festival affix sort of thing. I think I eventually just end up dying to some random shit. Does goat kill me?
What? Is that a unicorn
Oh,
sheepgoat?
I actually get to I go to the second boss, but
What the hell is that?
what's he called?
It's like a crap.
He reduces the front hero power by 4 every turn. He shoots cages at you.
Okay. He's wearing a cannon as a
I
helmet.
think he's wearing a cannon. He's like a pirate, I think.
Is he a pirate from Ratchet and Clank? But it looks very similar.
Hmm. I'm loving the art style on him.
Yeah, yeah. The
But
animations are really
then
cool as
I
well.
died there. But then I leveled up that hero, I leveled up that ally, and I leveled up the account, which then unlocks new cards. So there's lots of
Oh,
replayability
okay.
stuff. They do that sort of stuff in Slay the Spire as well. Where you can level up your heroes. There was also like a perk tree that you could like level
Oh
up.
my god.
It's
Trees.
it's a bit of a tech tree sort of thing, Tony. You know.
Yeah, you can't beat a tech tree, let's be honest.
Also, I should point out before we move on to the last game, the art is great. It's for the creator of Faria, which is a popular, like I think, free to play card
Yeah.
game on Steam, and also one of the creators of Magic the Gathering. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some good card design in this game. I'll move on to the final game, which is Loop Hero. So we saw this at E3, and I went, "Oh, it's a Devolver Digital published game."
I don't remember this
But
at all. So
I remember watching the demo, and I saw like the arts. I saw the art style, and I was like, I don't really like the art style.
Sans
It's Sans from Undertale.
as a god, angel. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you basically like you're a warrior. I thought this was a woman for the longest time. Apparently, this is a boy. I thought it was. I was like, I was
Androgynous, I
convinced
think.
this was was a woman. It's like
And
no, they call the character a boy in this, and I was like, whoa,
right, I'm gonna stick with
right.
androgynous. I don't care.
Anyway, I initially passed this because like just watching like the basic gameplay right now and just seeing like the art style, you may be like, what the fuck is this? This doesn't look that
Yeah,
interesting. But the demo festival came out. There was a demo for Loop Hero, and it was quite popular. Like,
oh, was it?
well, people like I was reading like Reddit on like what demos people were saying were good, and it was like, oh, you should check out Loop Hero, and I was like, well, you know what? If Devolver publishes something, it's usually a fun game. Like usually there's something interesting about it, so I think I'll give it a go because it had a demo. And
Yeah,
turns out this game's actually kind of great. It's a roguelike that really hooks you in. It's kind of a deck builder. Um, it's like a auto battler, auto walker, I would say.
but choices matter.
Yeah, so you place cards here, and basically your character just walks around this path, and
Mm-hmm.
you place down the grove, which is now going to spawn enemies. Every 2 days, it's going to spawn a rat wolf. And the reason we want to
Oh,
spawn
okay.
rat wolves is I'm going to kill that rat wolf. I think I played the entire thing on 2 times speed. You can pause at any point if you need to, so I would just recommend playing on 2 times speed because I'm not doing anything here. This is an auto battler, and then killing that enemy then gave me a piece of equipment and some new cards.
Oh, so then you get so okay.
Hmm.
So you got given equipment, like you got given a mesa?
Yeah, so it's got damage to all on it, which means it's better than my sword, so I want to equip it here. So you have like this box here every time you pick up some equipment, and then if you pick up, there's no like saving equipment, so if this box fills up, it will destroy
Oh,
the
it's gone.
last one that goes over. And if you want to
Right.
replace equipment, you have to basically destroy the piece of equipment you're holding and then place another one down. And as you can see with these cards, they have bonus effects. So placing down these forests lets me regen health over time. Placing down the mountains gives me more max health. And it also gives me resources, which is important because you take these resources back with you to camp, which then allows you to unlock new things for future runs. So you can unlock
Right.
like a potion brewer, and then every time you go on the next run, you will have like 3 potions that you'll use automatically when you get in low health, which will help you out, sort of thing. There is like it is like that rogue light element where it has like progression elements to it,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can see here there's a day and night cycle which is important because I think different enemies. Is it different enemies spawn? I'm trying to remember why the day night cycle with. You can just retreat to camp and then it shows you what you will keep, or you can keep playing. Because if you die, I don't think you get anything. So you have to like balance whether you want to keep your resources or keep going and potentially defeat the boss to unlock a new level.
Still with Sans though.
Yeah, Sans the first boss.
Right, okay.
Here I am
It's a
fighting some
bit
slimes. Give me some armor. It's a bit of an auto equip. You can like
so
the early game's a bit slow because you just kind of walk around slowly and then you unlock basic armor. You can unlock like a craft so you can automatically have like basic armor, which speeds it up a little
right,
bit.
I'm just trying to sound like why did so does that mountain show up because you defeated the
Yeah, because
slime?
I defeated the slime. And as you
Right,
can
and then
see
you can
there,
choose to put it down.
yeah, so the placement is important as well because placing mountains next to mountains will increase their effectiveness. So you want to try and build like a big mountain, but
Yeah.
one thing that you'll realize when you do this is if you build like a mega mountain, you'll get like a really big boon, but then it will start spawning harpies, which will come and attack you.
Okay, right.
Groves, um, a forest one is like a gives you regen. I don't think there's any negative boons by putting down forests. I think, but they don't give you anything, so you want to try and save space to add adjacent tiles for when they do actually give you boons, like a treasury. So a treasury, you can't place it next to anything, and doesn't give you anything for placing it. But when you place blocks around your treasury, it then gives you a random card. So you want to try. Sometimes you want to try and save cards so you can, in case you get a treasury, and then place it. But then
Right.
it's like, oh, okay, I need to place the. Um,
Yeah.
so this is me playing from the tutorial. Obviously, my later runs I would have placed it on the treasury there. I think that's a bit of a better move. But I'm trying to get the rock
Oh, okay,
bonus.
right.
By placing the rock next to the mountain.
You try and put up your mountain range.
Yeah. So now I can start spawning. So I put down a spider cocoon, and then adjacent tiles will spawn spiders on it. Which that's another interesting thing to point out is, um, spawning different enemies drops different types of gears. Like for example, putting down vampire houses that turn they give that'll spawn vampires, and then those enemies will drop vampirism gear, which will give you health when you attack people. Like you'll heal for the amount of damage you do. I quite like building vampirism builds where I could just have like high attack speed and then lots of like lifesteal. I think from playing, I think health regen was probably just better than vampirism, but I was like vampires are cool.
Vampires are cool, yeah.
So meta just heals 2 HP at the start of every day, which is why I
Oh,
was saying
okay.
like if you see in the top left, that's the day-night cycle, which is kind of
Yeah.
important.
So
Again,
those spiders, that's not doing anything until you place something in the actual maze itself
no, it's spawning every
to
two.
turn it into a
No, it's
spawner.
spawning every 2 days, but 2 days haven't
Right,
passed
okay.
yet because the day-night
So, okay, so
cycle.
those 3 squares are spawning spiders then?
Yeah, adjacent tiles will
Okay,
spawn
right.
spiders every 2 days. So there's one day, and that was 2 days. So a spider just spawned outside of the cocoon.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
put down
spider.
one that spawns a treasure chest. So that's very you really want to place those down because then when you destroy that, that will give you some very good loot, sort of thing.
Oh, it has a health bar as well. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
I got like a legendary sword there, sort of thing, which gives me like attack
Yeah,
speed and evasion. So I want to make sure I use that.
leveling up. Also, there are choices in the weapons as well. Like, it's not always like just a.
No, it's not just this card is better quality, this card is high
Yeah,
level. Sometimes you're gonna get to a point where it's like I've got a legendary level 1 thing, but I've got like a grey level 3 that's better than it. Or it's got sometimes I'm like I'm using a level 2 weapon over a level 5 weapon because I prefer the stats for my build, sort of thing. Like
yeah.
this game starts really simple, but there's a lot of hidden depth to this game. I found that initially I was like, okay, I'll try it for a bit, and then I started playing it. I was like, oh, I'll play it again to unlock some more stuff in the camp. And I just kept playing it over and over again. I was like, okay, this game's got me kind of addicted, sort of thing. Like, it's actually very fun to keep playing it over and over again, even if it is very like, um, you know, it's much more about building. I guess you're building a deck by placing tiles. I guess it's a tile
Yeah,
deck builder.
sure.
It's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
explain. Like I've never come across a game like this where you're building a deck to place tiles like in Settlers of Catan or Civ or something. But I'm also
Like,
the really interesting thing is I'm trying to place tiles to give myself benefits, but I'm
yeah.
also placing tiles to put obstacles in my way, but I want to put obstacles down because then it gives me opportunities to get gear which I need to overcome bigger obstacles.
And obstacles give you more tiles to put down as well as like a
Yeah,
feedback loop, right?
they give me more items and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
Just
is he
kind of
still
going through the story.
that icon?
The story's basically like you wake up and everything's gone. You're kind of just aimlessly walking around this world, and you're like memories start coming back to you, sort of thing. It's like a pretty, box standard
Ah,
sort of
yes, I
story.
remember Giant Mountain over there. Yeah, like look, it was more.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
the
is a cool
more
card. So
more you watch, the better
Oblivion.
it is.
So Oblivion here can erases any established tiles. So say I'm like, ah shit, I'm spawning a lot of spiders here. I could destroy these spider spawners. Or if I
Right.
wanted to, if there was a big build-up of enemies, you can actually just erase monsters from the road. So say if I was on low health and I was like, shit, I'm about to die. I could use my
Yeah.
Oblivion card here, and I could actually use that to get rid of a big pile-up of enemies. Because there is like um, enemies that spawn next to vampire houses. Those enemies will gain vampirism, where if you don't
Right.
have enough DPS, they'll just keep healing off you and dealing damage to you, and you won't be able to kill them. So you gotta be careful. There's also like beacon cards you can get, which means that when you're inside the area, you will spawn. When you're inside the area, you will attack faster, but also the enemies in that area will attack faster. So you have to kind of think, well, I want to be able to attack faster in this area, but also if I'm going to use the attack speed, it needs to be an area where there's lots of enemies so I can actually use the attack speed. But having the attack speed beacon will also give those enemies attack speed. So you're kind of like balancing it out. It's a balancing act that's really interesting once you get into it.
That makes sense.
I think this game is really fun. Um, like I played this and I was like, I'm gonna put this game on my wish list. This game is it's like something I would legit just like play a lot. I was not expecting to just based on like I think I didn't give it a fair chance based on the trailer and the art style, and then I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, there's a demo of this game I'm gonna put on my wish list. That's the power of demos, Tony.
It is a paradigm. I think in terms of the art style, it's not for me either, and I feel like if it had a different art style, I'd be way more willing to play it. But yeah, the game mechanics do look really cool, so
Here's like a
it's
grey
worth a
axe. It's
shot.
better than my thing. It doesn't have like good stats like
Oh, right.
evasion and stuff, but it's like, oh, it's a lot better stats, and I'm going for a.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not vampirism here. I'm going evasion and HP. But like this beacon here, I think this beacon here is this beacon here is going to buff attack speed of things around it. Here's a graveyard that spawns spirits. I built like loads of mountains because I built so many mountains. It spawns a goblin camp. That's not something that gets explained to you. That's just something that happens, and then you go, "Oh, okay, I figured that out." Like, because eventually you'll build like a lot of mountains, and then you'll get a big mountain, which will then spawn. It'll give you a bunch of gold. It's like what's that? The Hobbit sort of thing, where there's a big mountain with
Yeah,
gold in
yeah.
it, but then you also get the side effect if it spawns a harpy sort of thing. Like, there's lots of depth to this game. There's lots of hidden depth as well, which I quite like. I really enjoyed this game. I think it was really well made, and I think the fact that it has a demo is a big benefit. Here's what I was talking about, where the vampirism, where they can keep healing if you don't have enough DPS, sort of thing, and you want to kind of sort your items so you have the stuff you want to keep at the top, and the stuff you don't want to keep at the bottom, because when you pick up stuff, it will get rid of it from the bottom, sort of thing. And then eventually you can see like the boss bar here. Eventually you'll fill that up, and then you get to fight the boss. I did defeat the boss of this level. Then you get to go to a different challenge and then try and defeat that boss. So there's like with the camp and
Progression.
stuff, there's progression and there's lots of
Yeah.
replayability. So I would highly recommend
That's
try.
cool.
You can still play the demo Loop Hero right now, so I would highly recommend checking out. I would highly recommend if this interests you at all, I'd highly recommend playing the demo because I think it's a lot better once you've played it to like fully understand how fun the game is. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. For sure.
that's the end of Tangerine. Goodbye.
Bye.